Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we are going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. The link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video, kicking things off with that 1 hour time frame. Okay, guys, here we have Bitcoin paired up with the USDT, and we are on Binance 1 hour time frame. And as you can kind of see, we blasted through our expectations yesterday. So initially we kind of pushed up into our kind of C wave high here. We're talking about how we're looking for a bit more to the upside on a WXY, X, and Z structure because of our moves above this 1.236 fib level. So we were kind of holding out to see what would happen. We didn't want to kind of mark it on the charts here yesterday, just in case, you know, we do actually have a much bigger breakdown and we were going to invalidate it. We didn't have that breakdown and we just blasted all the way up, and currently we got our new yearly high at $41,750. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to take a look at this extension and we want to kind of figure out whether or not we are looking at this as a complete structure or whether we are now kind of thinking it's got a little bit more room to the downside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take that off and I'm going to put on the fibs, and I'm going to move this over to our lows over here, and you can see that we are well within its range. It's actually a little bit higher than expected because you would normally typically see this basically between the 50% area, which is this one down here. Okay, and that 1.236, again, overextending. So we know that we're kind of in the range. It doesn't have to kind of push up any higher. There isn't anything else outside of this structure, by the way, guys. So once we kind of have W, X, Y, X, and Z, you're kind of done at that point. You can't continue to keep going. So it's going to be interesting. What I do want to do is I want to just check a couple of things to see whether or not we have anything here that's going to constitute put us into a kind of, I guess, impulsive structure. That's going to be the interesting thing to kind of keep an eye on. So let's go ahead and see. Obviously, we do have this here. That's okay. So I'm just going to mark these up as I find them. And then we want to find ourselves with where we are in our current situation. Okay, so in here, we have ourselves our corrections down. That's okay. And then here we have another run up. This is good. So we have another 5-wave count right here, like so. Then we correct it down into this little mini correction here, up, then here, and this is the interesting one. It's quite, I've got a couple of options. I think it's here, looking at it. So I'm just going to mark this in right in here. It kind of does this, comes down a little bit deeper. And then we have another correction. This is where we were yesterday. And then we see here, we go up into the 1, the 2, and then we've still got to keep going. So let's keep going up a little bit higher. Yeah, so it looks to me like this should be here, and we've still got the potential for a little bit more. I'd say we've still got the potential for a little tiny bit more there. Let's go ahead and throw on our expectations for this. So we'll be looking right in here, actually, 41,855 to 42,023. So that's basically going to be where I think we are likely to kind of see that one finish off. And so if we kind of pull this back down, what do we see? Well, we can see here we have a zigzag, and then we have this move here. So there's actually a couple of different ways of no, that'd be complete, actually, taking a look at it. So we would have, if I mark this out in a larger structure, going to take it from here. We have the A, the B, the C. Okay, then we have the A, the B, the C. But this is the impulsion. This is not. So considering that we don't have a 53535 in a wave 1, here we do have. So this here will have to be a wave 1, wave 2, tiniest little wave 2, up, down, then up. So we'd have to have it like that, and it would be a 335 overall. So maybe not WXYXZ, but we're definitely kind of finishing this pattern off by the looks of it. I was thinking yesterday that this was going to kind of be where we would finish with a little bit more of a push for another zigzag, but this zigzag pattern in itself has exceeded our expectations quite a bit. So we do transform this pattern into something slightly different. So yesterday it was a WXYXZ based on kind of finishing within our range here. 40,195 to 41,500. However, with the overextension here, that does kind of morph this into something slightly different. It becomes more of a flat correction, 335, rather than anything else. Overly complicated, I know, but it's important that you kind of get this right if we want to kind of be accurate with our Elliott wave. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing, and that's not really what Elliott wave is about. It's about kind of predicting people's outputs based on their behaviors. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to keep an eye on that for a second. From Smart Money Concepts, obviously still bullish. We are in that fifth wave movement. That fifth wave movement is in fact a diagonal and all that kind of stuff. So let's take this up into our daily, right? So here we can see we're looking for this expanding diagonal, right? And it's a fifth wave movement. So all of this is actually tracked quite nicely. We are now up in that overbought area. We've kind of come up into the upper area of expectations on our daily time frame, and we are in this sweet spot of interest, really. And I think, let's see if we can kind of narrow down kind of the points of interest a little bit, because I do see this as an interesting point of reference right in between here. We can get it. There we go. Pull that across. This is 42,976 to 45,456. I don't think we'll push that high. I don't think we have the momentum to do that. But this is a point of interest because we had support turn into resistance right in this area. It's actually a little bit deeper than this as well, because you can kind of see the upper area of resistance here actually coming in a little bit shallower than this as well. But nonetheless, this is going to be an interesting point of reference to see how price reacts at these levels. So yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Now, you can see on the stochastic RSIs, we're overbought on all the time frames. We are in the last legs of the structures. Ultimately, at this point, we are, of course, thinking about the price moving on down. We are not thinking that we have terribly too much more room to the upside. This is quite clear when we take a look at the price chart here, that essentially we've pushed up quite a bit, quite aggressively, but there isn't terribly too much more to be had in this move to the upside based on the structures that we are mapping out. We are mapping out this ending diagonal structure right here. It has to be a 3-wave pattern, cannot be a 5-wave pattern. So we can't really see that big impulsive structure being anything outside of a 3-wave corrective pattern, specifically in how this 5th wave move is ending. Obviously, all of this in itself is also corrective anyway. So we are looking for a pull back down. We're going to be looking to come down to some previous areas of support. So 35 is going to be the first one, but then I do think we're going to be moving down more towards 30 to 32, that kind of range in that fair value gap that you see down here. That's going to be a huge point of reference for me on our price chart here for BTC. Take the stochastic RSIs off, throw in our divergence indicator. We did have our hidden bullish divergence. I covered that, and we've seen this now great run to the upside. That's kind of done in my opinion. We are now overbought on the RSI along with the stochastic RSI. Throw the volumes in here and you can still see the divergence occurring at the volume level. You can even see whilst we're pushing up higher highs here on the price chart, we are also coming down into lower highs on the volume profiles. That means this move to the upside isn't really being backed by large volume, and that kind of tells you everything you need to know. Essentially, we are likely to see reversals here. We can push up a little bit more, of course, but for the most part, my expectations are that we start to see reversals in the market. So to kind of quickly summarize what's going on there on the daily chart, Essentially, we are in the fifth wave of the fifth wave, and we are potentially reaching the upper end before we start to see corrections. We're overbought on the RSI. We are overbought on the stochastic RSIs on multiple different timeframes. So ultimately here, the thoughts have to be turning bearish rather than bullish. Back into the price charts, let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly, of course, is still pushing that higher end trend line, as you can kind of see here. Again, trend lines can be adjusted depending on the narrative of the analyst, etc. I'm more interested in the lower end trend line. So we have the ascending wedge, and I'm looking at this low trend line for where we're likely to kind of find support, if any at all. If we lose the trend line, then of course, we expect further to the downside. Ultimately, we're testing the equilibrium area now. So smart money concepts, this is a key area. This is going to basically be our test on rejection. So we're right in that end game of this move to the upside right now. Ultimately, our weekly chart has been overbought for a few weeks. We will be looking now for a turn to the downside once we kind of finish off those patterns on those real small time frames. But ultimately, our macros remain in a bearish state of play, and as such, we should be bearish on the market as well. Ultimately, I think the time to be bullish is over, and I do think we are likely to start to see a move to the downside. Once complete, though, I think the bulls are going to get control of the market very fast, and we're going to see a fantastic bullish market start to emerge. But for now, our price charts are quite clear. We are testing upper areas of resistance. We are upper ends of structures such as fifth waves with fifth waves. We're testing equilibriums. We're overbought on stochastic RSIs. We're overbought on RSIs. There's no more bullish divergences to be seen. Ultimately, we're coming towards the end, and I, for one, am feeling a little bit more bearish than I was a few days ago. So guys, I think that's going to wrap up today's video. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.